Hello everybody and welcome back to Hardworking Man. Today I'm running a brand new saw in a bar I've never tried before, but I've always wanted to. I picked up an Echo CS7310P from sawsuppliers.com. They got some of the best prices. With my discount code you can get 10% off their saws and you get free shipping on every order, no minimum purchase. I also went with the Sugihara bar. I've never run one of these before, but a lot of people love them and I wanted to try it. So far, my favorite bar is the DG Titanium Pro Top, which Steve is looking into becoming a dealer for, so we can have those on the site as well. But I'm going to try the Sugihara today. We're also going to be running the Thumb, and I'm going to show you guys the finished mod on that trenching bucket on the Coyote. It's the KB2485 Backhoe on the Coyote NS6010, and the mechanical thumb that Coyote sells doesn't fit with their trenching bucket, which I think is sort of poor design, I guess, maybe, but I was able to modify that up and get it working, and I'm going to show you guys the finished product that I did all with a drill and a grinder, which I scared a lot of people with the way I run the grinder. But anyway, this saw comes with the Oregon chain. In the future, I'm going to do some comparisons between this Oregon chain, which I've always loved, and the Archer chains, which I showed the other day, because I really like those as well. And I think I'm getting to the point now with different saws and all this going on that I'm going to start building my own loops instead of buying loops, because you can save a bunch of money, but that's for a future video. Now, one thing you want to do on a new bar when you get it, and just maintaining your bar as you have it, is to grease it if it has this grease part up here. So I am going to just put this grease gun here, shoot some grease in, and you'll see it coming out there around the nose sprocket. As you grease it, you can see here the grease in there, just to help, you know, the longevity of the nose. If you don't have a grease gun, you can grab those on sawsupplier.com as well. You can get just about anything on there, and they're going to be adding stuff, so that's pretty cool. I'm also going to be running this Cut It bar oil. I'm going from brand new, never having any other bar oil, and just going to run this and just see what it does, because like I mentioned before, I've used bar oil that just gets to a gummy, sticky, tacky mess. And I don't know if this will or not, but I've never run this saw. It's never had gas or oil in it. So we're going to fire it up, get it nice and warm while I get those logs picked up with the backhoe. And then we're just going to get to bucking, because we have a new, exciting product you've never seen before that's going to be debuting on Hardworking Man pretty soon. You're not going to want to miss it, and we need some rounds, so we're going to get prepared for that. Such a pain when it's cold. This rubber piece gets stuck in there. All right, now I run rec fuel at a 40-to-1 mix, recommended by Dino Joe. This is the first start ever. We're going to see how many pulls it takes. Then we're going to let it warm up for quite a while we go get the logs ready. This saw is going to Dino Joe. He's going to port this thing up. These Echoes get huge gains with a port job and a muffler mod, because they're pretty conservative from the factory, which is why they have a 5-year warranty on most of their saws. So we got it choked. We've got that on, and now we just go to pulling. It's like a Husqvarna. There she is. It's like a well-broken-in Husqvarna. Well, that's the first start ever. We had to get the fuel into the system, get it primed. Now, this thing will start first pull for the rest of its life, guaranteed. this thing run while we go get ready to cut. First, we're going to start with this basswood that I dropped the other day. This thing's hollow inside, so I'm going to start at the top end, and I'm just going to cut 16-inch blocks until we get down to where it starts getting hollow. Then I'm going to just cut it into sections. We'll start with just some boiler wood, and then when it gets to the hollow part, that can be made for cookies or planters or little torch stoves. I'm just going to cut it into 8-foot or so lengths and move it to the side for now. Then we're going to move over to cottonwood, some box elder, maple, whatever I have over in the campfire wood pile, and try this new thumb with the modified bucket on the Coyote. Well, we found our hollow. All right, now I'm taking it easy on this saw. Obviously, it's not broken in. It's warmed up, but it's going to take a while to break in. Then we'll get some adjustments done. I'm going to run this a bit before we get it ported. I will say, it feels good. This Echo 7310 with the 24-inch Sugihara bar, I mean, it feels good in the hand. I think I'm going to like this saw once Joe wakes it up. So this is the dead spot that I could see in the tree. I'm going to cut past it and see if it gets solid again before it gets completely hollow, and we're going to see how long this runs for. So let me get a couple cuts until we get back to either solid wood or starts to hollow out, and then I'll decide if we're going to do 16-inch cuts for firewood or just block it up for boiler wood until we get down to the pure hollow wood. So that dead spot that I saw was just a rotten dead spot because we're back to solid wood here. So back to 16-inch cuts until we get to where it starts being dead again. Now that does make me feel a lot better about climbing this tree. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this was a hard leaner towards my power lines, and I climbed it, tied a rope in it, and felled it. Check out that video. We'll put a link to it at the end of this one. I'm not running this saw wide open. I'm just light on the trigger to help break it in. Normally, when I would buy a new saw, I just gas her up, start it up, and let it eat. But I'm thinking maybe it'll help a little, even though I've never had problems. Breaking them in just a touch slower. Come on, roll back. There we go. Oh, I thought I could get the whole thing. Let's move down a little bit. Just wanting to roll back. There we go. Now roll back. There we go. I need my new grapple bucket. That thing's gonna be sweet. It should be here any day now, and you guys are gonna wanna see it because I think it's the best one ever made. A lot of new stuff coming. It is so hard for me not to just let this thing eat and rip that trigger. That's why I need my new grapple. Ah! Let me know in the comments, do you guys think this is necessary to run your saw light when you're first breaking it in? I don't know if it says it in the manual because I didn't read it. So let me know, when you get a brand new saw, do you just gas it up, warm it up and let it eat, or do you do it nice and slow like I'm doing with this one? And I'll be honest, I thought for sure we were going to be in a dead, hollow tree by now. So this tree was a lot more solid than I expected, which is good for firewood, bad for cookies and planters and little turbo stoves or whatever you want to call them. We still got solid wood. I'm shocked. I really am. All right, I got this down to a manageable size. Let's try the new thumb. I'll show you the cutouts on the backhoe and then we'll move on to the other wood. I was gonna say I'm just gonna run the controls from here, but it's harder while I'm learning to try to do it without sitting in the seat. I don't know why, but you're about to get a lesson on how to run a backhoe like a true expert.
I have my doubts that that backhoe is going to pick up this log. That doesn't look like it can grab it. The log's too big. I guess we'll see.
It's like I've been an operator my whole life. That was smooth. I don't want to brag, but man, I'm good. All right, let's cut. So like I said, with this manual thumb from Coyote, this is all OEM equipment. This is the trenching bucket. It wouldn't close because the thumb would hit the bucket. So I took some advice from the comments from some of those videos, and I used the new grinder and drill bits from Bad Dog Tools that I was testing out. And I will say, the grinding wheel especially impressed me. It cut this easier than I thought. And come look at this job that I was able to do with just a 6-inch cutting / grinding wheel from Bad Dog Tools. So I do think I am going to weld a strap on the outside of this. We're actually getting our garage worked on right now. The contractor's here. I'm getting an indoor workshop set up in there with a lot of new stuff. So when it's nasty out, I can still get out and get work done. And I'm gonna teach everyone how to weld, because I got an email the other day that said, we realize you're well respected in the welding community. So I feel I'm obligated to help teach others. That definitely sounds hollow down here. I'm gonna guess around here we start hitting hollow wood. You wanna test it, Rach?
No, I trust your official measurement.
Where I said it is.
Still solid.
Yeah, it's getting hollowish. It sounded hollow.
Should have hit your head to test.
Oh yeah. I know what that'll sound like. Knowledge, so much knowledge.
Well, let me get over here.
I am completely blown away that we still have solid wood. I thought this was hollow way further up. I almost feel like just picking it up and cutting the whole thing, but I want to save as much as I can. But is there, I mean, it's hardly worth saving anymore now. For cookies, Larson, my buddy Jonathan Larson, he runs a channel, Up to Something Outdoors, and he does a lot of boat scrapping. He's going to do some boat I guess, restoration with my boat, which is going to be awesome. And he wanted some of these cookies to do an epoxy resin so that he could do some antler mount plaques out of. But I don't know how many cookies I'm going to have, because the stump, when it pulled, you can see that it pulled because it was leaning so hard, it ripped out all the bark down to about here. So we might not have any good cookies out of this now that I'm getting cut into it. Oh well. Back to see some expert operating skills. I'm gonna have to swing this and get this log. Oh yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work. Uh-oh. All right, I got an idea. Oh yeah. Look at this guy go. Look at this guy go. Probably gonna have excavation companies calling me, wanting me to come operate for them now. I should have probably not showed off so much right at the beginning. I'll just move this right over here. Let me extend it out a little so I'm not dropping it on my old rounds. That's smooth. Okay, not super smooth, but smooth for me. All right, I'm gonna cheat now. Take out the old Olight. This is the old Artveld Ultra, I believe. At work, I work law enforcement. This has quickly become the most popular flashlight on shift. Everyone has one. Why? Because somebody put it best the other day. They said, this is the most comfortable flashlight I've ever owned. And they're not lying. You put it in your pocket, you don't even know it's there, but it's bright, it's got UV, it's got laser. I mean, this thing is awesome. I carry one every day. I actually have two, one in my work pants, one in my other pants, because I never want to be without it. It's got the clip. I clip it to my hat, filling the boiler, doing everything. And I should have used this to cheat and look up this log before I guessed where the hollow began, because I wasn't even close. It's really only about right here. Here, want me to show you with my laser? Right in there. Let's see if there's...
You're not pointed at it. You're up high. We'll point it down. There we go.
The laser. One beautiful new saw got all covered in snow. Now, when you're running a new chain, in that last video I mentioned this, but people are like, your chain's too loose, and it is. A new chain will have some stretch. After I'm done with this tree, I'm gonna let this cool down, then I'm gonna tighten it. You don't wanna tighten a warm chain because you're gonna overstretch it. At least that's what I've learned over the years. So yeah, it's loose right now, I get it. I'm gonna finish this tree, let it cool down, adjust it, then back to cutting on the rest of it. can see it's rotten here, but not completely hollowed out. So that's just firewood. Oh yeah. Alright, I'm going to get that chain adjusted after it cools down, move over, and finish bucking up the rest of those logs. Because like I said, we need splitter food, and you're not going to want to miss what we have to show you.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun! Alright, so what do you guys think? I think that even though it's a mechanical thumb and not hydraulic, and it's not a mini excavator, which I would love to have, I still think it's going to come in pretty handy, and I will one day own a mini excavator. Now, when I tighten my chains, I pull up on the tip of the bar, and you want it about like that, so it's touching the bar on the bottom, but not like yanked into it. And then you don't need to crank down on these bar nuts. Top it off with gas and oil, and back to cutting. I think I'm really going to like this saw, and I might let it eat a little bit more now that we've got a tank through it. I thought I lost my high drain. I told Rachel, I'm like, one of the kids took my high drain, because Nate always likes to take it and play with it, this little handheld blower. And she's like, it's in my car. You brought it because we went to wrestling early in the morning, and it had snowed the night before, and we were wearing tennis shoes. So I actually brought it to blow the snow off our shoes so our feet wouldn't get wet and be wet for the whole day. And I left it in our car because that's what people with ADHD do. They leave stuff everywhere. Does anyone else do that? Every time before I gas up a saw, I shake it. Even if I just filled the saw earlier, like I feel like I'm mixing that gas and oil better, even though I'm pretty sure it doesn't separate. I'll tell you what I do really like on this Echo saw is you can see through this gas tank pretty easily. So as it starts to fill, you can see, and you won't overfill it and dump it everywhere, because I've seen other people spill gas and oil when they're filling up their saws. Now, one thing this Cut It bar oil claims is that it has more tactifier, that it clings to your chain and your bar better, so you don't use as much. So it costs a little more, but they claim you use less. So in the end, maybe you're saving money while saving your saw. I don't know, I'm gonna run some tests on it. And like I said, it's the only oil I'm gonna put in this saw just to see how it does. Because in my other saws, I've used everything and anything from Tractor Supply, the cheap stuff, to Husqvarna, to Steel, to STP, to anything and everything. So I can't really look at it and say, oh, I really don't like this oil, or I do like this oil. So brand new saw, new type oil, and we'll see how it does over time. You know what I never did check on this saw? A lot of saws have a winter and summer mode, and it's clearly winter, and it's cold and windy. So let's see if this is in winter mode, and if not, we'll put it in winter mode. So, looks like 3 screws, which are apparently quarter turn screws to get the air cleaner. Oh, there it is. And we are in summer mode, so we're gonna turn winter on. So what that does is it opens up as opposed to closes off to let a little bit of heat get to the carburetor, from what I understand, so you're taking in warmer air and less freeze-ups. Nice pleated filter. I think I'm gonna like this saw. There we go. Helps when you put the cover on, right? Makes it a lot easier to put all the screws back in. Bar oil's full, gas is full, chain is tight. Let's get it warmed up again and see what she does here on the second tank. So the remainder of today's bucking is right there, and it's some cottonwood, a box elder, and I think that might be it. But more importantly, it's going to be some backhoe practice and getting some blocks ready for a piece of equipment that no one's ever seen. And you'll only be able to see it if you're subscribed and hit the thumbs up and watch Hardworking Man. I forgot my marking stick is in here, so just let me drop that over here. Oh, there goes my chalk, disappeared into the snow. Tried to brush that branch out of the way and it just got snagged in there. Ah! Well, that's dumb. There we go. Ugh. This is why I wanted to keep this trenching bucket on for firewood, because you can just mark through it and you don't have a bigger bucket where you're missing more cuts. I do it right next to the bucket. And my mark is right there. That's because you can't. That'll work. I thought I could push that out of the way. This thing does not have a ton of power swinging from side to side. I will say that. See if we can pick this one up. There we go. Trying not to wreck my tire thing there. Come on. Ah! This thing doesn't have as much power as I had hoped. I don't know if that's just how these work, or if this one maybe is a little tired. Maybe I have to turn my RPMs up on the tractor. Because this, I'm not gonna lie, is a little disappointing. Huh. I thought this thing would have more strength than that. Maybe, I've only got the RPMs at about 1800, so maybe I'll have to turn those up when we get into these bigger logs, or maybe I should have just listened to some of you and bought a mini excavator instead of messing around with this backhoe in the first place. Times like this too when a long bar helps, because I don't have the greatest access, because with that backhoe the swing is minimal, but I can still reach out and safely cut this with the longer bar without having to move these rounds out of the way. I'm going to turn the tractor RPMs up and see if we do a better job of getting these logs out of here. Well, that made a world of difference. Oh, spoke too soon. Let's see, come on. Getting it too close to me. All right, let's readjust. I got an idea. There we go. I'm gonna figure this thing out yet. I might have to adjust my thumb too for where it's at. I think we got it now. All right. Two controls at once. This guy is an expert, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think, girl? Oh, she don't have a mic on. You can't even hear how impressed Rachel is right now with her man, the equipment operator. She's impressed, let me tell you. I do like that, being able to reach through and just keep marking. This saw definitely needs a carburetor adjustment, but like I said, I'm going to run it at least a couple tanks through it before I start messing with that. Longer bar helps there too, because if this was too short, I'd have to go around to the other side, where now I can still stay clear of the bucket and get my full cut. Now I'm going to have to re-grip it though, because it slipped out and tipped down, which is probably because of how I grabbed it. There's a little bit of a stabilizer. Try to scoop up under it more. All right, good enough for now. I'll get better, I promise. That's risky enough. I'll drop it and finish that cut. I don't feel like smoking a brand new chain on my bucket. All right, now this next one is a big box elder. I don't know if it's gonna be able to lift it or not. I would have hoped it would have done it easily, but now that I'm getting a little more time on this backhoe, I'm not sure it will. I am going to open my thumb up a little bit. I'm gonna have to throw some strike hold on there. That's pretty tight right there for some reason. What do you guys think? Is it gonna pick this big box elder up? I think it might be too much for this little backhoe. I mean, we got it up. I mean, I'm not picking the whole tree up, but I got it up to start cutting, and then we can re-grip. That's better than nothing. I didn't think it would do that, to be honest. Now let's see how that Echo saw does. Woo, woo. Round walker. On a little bit more substantial of a tree. Granted, it's still just box elder, but it's knotty and it's bigger. Not too bad. I really like with these bigger saws when you get the dogs in and you can just rock it through and then drop it down. It makes cutting effortless. See, that's where I figure I could drag that, and I can't. Maybe I'm expecting too much out of this little thing. I might have to open my backhoe up even more for this one. Or my thumb, I mean. See, like there, the lift just, I can curl, which I know is your more powerful. But that lift, I would think I could have more lift than that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's off the ground and it's gonna be easier to buck than if it were on the ground using a woodchuck timberjack or using a log ox. And a benefit over a mini axe is getting on and off this is a lot easier than climbing in and out of a mini axe. So there is one benefit over a mini axe. I'm not really laying on this saw. Like on that ported Makita, you can lay on it. Even on that 50cc Echo for a 50cc saw, you can lay into it. You can put the dogs in and reef on it. I am starting to pull full throttle now, but I'm not really digging it in or putting the boots to it, I guess you could say. All right, I'm gonna re-grip it and swing it out. I should be able to now. Oh, so close. All right, let's do this. That is not what I wanted to do. There we go. We're gonna figure this thing out yet. I like it. I mean, I'd like a Mini X more, but I still like it, and I'm still learning.
So I've been wanting a fur coat because it's cold in Michigan, and I got one today. Taking it for a test run.
I tried to get her to wear that coat when she was out here filming me. But she's like, I'm not getting sawdust all over my fur. Yes, sir. I'm gonna like this saw. 2 tanks of gas through the new CS7310, using the thumb for firewood correctly for the first time. I have to say, this saw is already running better, and I think I'm really going to like it. I think I'm going to really like that thumb too once I get a little more used to it, and it's really getting me pumped to get a mini excavator with a hydraulic thumb one day. But I did show you why a backhoe on a tractor is better for firewood than a mini excavator. Just the ease of hopping on and off if you're working by yourself. It's like comparing a mini skid steer to a tractor or a skid steer, or a stand-on rider compared to a zero turn. Anyway, it's not much, but I got to take my little wins. Thanks for watching Hardworking Man, guys, and have a great day.